It's Lynn.
It is me.
I'm so happy. Welcome, everybody. This is the women's game. We are live right this very second, just moments after the U.S. women's national team's second game of the 2026 SheBelieves Cup. The game was against Canada. The U.S. women's national team came away with a 1-0 win, thanks to a 55th minute goal from Hanson, Massachusetts native Alli Setnor. I am so happy that we won. I am so happy to be joined by Lynn Biyendolo, coming to us all the way from Australia. Lynn, how's Australia?
Good, sunny, nice.
Pregnant,
beachy. What more can I say?
I mean, it sounds amazing. All sounds so great. I do miss you over here. But we're very happy to have you. We're going to break down this game. Our tournament coverage this week is presented by our great friends over at Olipop. They have been a partner of the women's game now for over 2 years. They help us make all the great content that everybody comes here for. So a huge thank you again to Olipop for making this show possible. We are going to break down this whole game, but before we dive into the details, I want to explain the show. If we have any newcomers here, welcome. We're so happy to have you. This is a TWG Live, which means that you, our listeners, are here with us right now. You can ask us questions about whatever you want. You're just going to scan the QR code in the top left of your screen. You're going to then go into a Zoom with our producer, Marcella, who will get you set up to ask your question. It's audio only. You're not going to be on camera. That's just for me and Lynn. But we'll get to those questions a little bit later in the show. Just go ahead and get in line now. Make sure you get your question in there. If you don't want to ask a question, that's okay. Just subscribe, do all the things that help us out. We also have to shout this out. We have brand new merch in the TWG shop. I am wearing it. I actually literally love the sweatshirt so much. And my mom says that blue is my color.
Blue is your color, like blues and greens, even purple, I would say.
Thank you literally so much. I also recently realized that I think brown is my color.
Yes. I think brown is like a universal color. Like it looks great on most people.
But especially me.
Yeah, don't make this about anybody else, just me.
So please check out the merch. I really do love it. There's new shirts, new hats, this new hoodie. It's at shop.menandboys.com. Okay, I'm glad you're all in here in the chat. Lynn, I want to get right into the game. We do have the Unrivaled Championship going on in just a few minutes, so I'm going to, let all of our listeners get to that when we're all done here. Let's talk about this U.S. Women's National Team game.
Yes.
To start, I feel like, I'm all high, I'm on this high from the win, but I want to kind of go back to pregame, before the game. This Canada-USA rivalry, everybody talks about it all the time. You and I know that it's real, but just tell us again what it means for the U.S. Women's National Team to have a game against Canada.
It's a pride game. I think that when you have two federations that are really good, Canada obviously won the Olympics in 2021, which was supposed to be the 2020 Olympics, and then we won the Olympics this most recent one. It's just such a big rivalry. There's pride on the line. We always say, being from the U.S., we don't lose to Canada. We don't lose at all, but if we especially don't lose to Canada, that's obviously the mindset going in. So I'm really happy that we won.
I'm really happy that we won too. It always feels good. I know our last few meetings we have won, but I just still grit my teeth and make fists with my hands at night when I think about losing to them in the semifinal of the Olympics in 2021, because it just ruined.
It haunts you. It haunts you forever.
Haunts me.
And then a lot of Canadians playing the NWSL and a lot of Americans obviously playing the NWSL. And it's just then you have to go back to your market and be like, nah, we lost to Canada. No.
It's extremely disheartening. So I am so glad that we won. We're going to talk a little bit more about Canada specifically later in the show. I also want to start off acknowledging, because Lynn, you and I talked about this in our episode of Good Vibes that came out yesterday. We were all so worried about Trinity Rodman's injury that we saw occur at the end of the last game on Sunday. But thankfully, Trinity's okay. She started tonight. I thought that this starting 11 was much closer to the starting 11 that best represents the U.S. Women's National Team based on who's available right now. We saw Fallon Joyce in goal, Naomi and Sonnet as center backs, with Emily Fox and Giselle Thompson as the outside backs. The midfield was Sam Coffey, Claire Hutton, and Rose Lavelle. And then up top was Trinity Rodman, Alli Setnor, and Alyssa Thompson. My question for you, Lynn, is how close are we? Could this be the lineup that starts at the World Cup, or how close was this?
Look, I think that it's pretty close to what we're going to see. I do have a couple of question marks. I think the left back position is a question mark. We have Lily and Lindsay. Obviously, those are also question marks in the midfield. And then we have some forwards that are out on maternity leave or haven't made it back just yet. So I think that there still are questions. Also, the keeper position. I don't know who has the number spot right now. I think that both Fallon and Claudia did great with the games that they were given. So I don't know, but I do think that looking at like the core pieces, it's pretty close or set. What about you?
I agree. I mean, I think that the lineup we saw over the weekend still seemed like, newer, more inexperienced players. Tonight seemed like Emma looked at the group that's in the She Believes roster and like picked almost her starters. Like it just felt a lot closer to, what I would think Emma is like the players that are kind of in that core group. I think the big question mark for me and the thing that I'm sure a few people are confused about is why Lindsay Heaps started on Sunday and not today. And as a player myself, it's like I would read into that. I think, of course, there's a chance that Lindsay, they needed her to start with all of those less experienced players on Sunday. But I also think that the midfield is one of those groups that might be served well to rotate a lot, depending on the opponent, depending on where we're at in the tournament. I just feel like the midfield is a place with so much depth that like they might all rotate. They might all play. So I don't really know how much to read into it.
Yeah, I wouldn't read into it too much. I think that, yes, the Olympics is coming up. Sorry. Whoa.
That's okay.
The other one, the other big tournament. I'm going to blame any like mishap on a pregnancy brain.
Yeah.
But I think that one, you never know. She's like maybe Emma. She's maybe looking at like, we've seen Lindsay so many times against so many different opponents. We need to see this different midfield together and their rotations. Is that working out? Lindsay needed to lead a younger, less experienced group. Next game, like you said, there's like a bunch of rotation. I wouldn't like read into it too much. I think that obviously Lindsay's going to be fine.
Yeah. I mean, Lindsay's on the team. She's captain. She's a leader. She's going to play. Like, I think that much is clear. I just thought it was one of those ones where I was like, that was weird.
I know. And as a player, like you said, like I definitely would read into it as the person going through it. But I also, again, think that Emma has been very vocal and like her decisions and very upfront and honest about every decision she's making. So I'm sure that she's had a conversation with Lindsay, so she knows exactly where she stands. And also, I think there's rotation, and I think that you have to see players together further out against quality opponents. So when you get closer to the World Cup, you know exactly who's going to pair well together.
Yeah, totally agree. I do see this funny comment in the chat from a Canadian hot dog that I just love so much. I love that somebody is identifying as a Canadian hot dog, which is just such incredible nonsense. Let's start talking about the game itself. We did have a few. First off, the game was so fast and so back and forth. We had this great early chance when Alli Setnor played Trinity Robin. Kind of coming from the left side of the field. She played it across this beautiful through ball right through Canada's back line. And Trinity, I kind of thought she was going to shoot it, but she slotted it right back across goal. And we just didn't have a player on the back line there to tap it home. So Canada was able to clear it. To me, that play, the first 5 minutes are so fast, so back and forth. And suddenly we have this really quality chance in front of goal with our, some of our most dangerous players right there. And it was just a signal of how quickly we can be dangerous. My question was, and I'm so psyched that I get to ask this of you, is I thought Trinity was going to shoot, but then the pass also seemed like it would have been an easy goal if somebody had just been there. So what goes through your mind when you're deciding whether to pass or shoot in a situation like that?
Yeah, I think that a couple things. One, does somebody have a clear, better shot than me? And obviously, like when we're watching, we're getting like the perfect angle from above and the cameras, and we don't see like players directly on. Like we can't pass it through people sometimes. I always laugh when we're like, you go back and watch film and a coach is like, why didn't you play her? And you're like, well, yeah, if I could like chip it through those 3 players, I obviously would have played her, but there was somebody
or
standing
if
in my
I had
way.
eyes in the back of my head,
Yeah,
or if the ball hadn't been bouncing, or like there's
exactly.
a
Like
million
there's
reasons.
a million reasons. So one, I think like does somebody on the field when you're saying does somebody have a clear and better shot than you? But I also think that when it comes to Trin, specifically right now, Trin is like such an amazing player, but she has had this start stop going on in the last year. And I think it's like a confidence thing. When you feel like you're really played in and you're like on fire and you can't be touched, you're like, yeah, I'm obviously going to shoot this. Like I'm of course. Where
Yeah.
maybe right now she's having like a bit of a, okay, I'm still trying to find myself. I'm trying to find my feet and I just am trying to get games underneath me, which I wouldn't blame her for that either.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. I think, and I keep seeing this in the chat. I keep seeing everybody talk about how good Emily Fox did tonight, which I wholeheartedly agree with. But
Yeah.
you think about somebody who's playing with a lot of confidence right now, like Emily Fox, like Alyssa Thompson, they're in the
Mhm.
middle of their seasons in Europe. So it makes total sense to kind of see this maybe difference in sharpness or decision making from the players who are really played in right now versus the players who are literally in preseason and just getting going for the year,
100%.
especially somebody like Trinity who has been on and off injured really for the last year. I've already kind of said this, the first 15 minutes, super fast, so back and forth. Canada had some chances too. I noted that Sonnet had some great clearances inside the 18. She had like 2 in a row. And then she had that other great moment where she pressed really high. And I
Yeah.
always remember getting kind of taught, like, if you step up to press and they start going backwards, like you have to keep going. Otherwise,
Yeah.
they'll just kind of like turn around and start dribbling, and the whole thing was like a waste. So Sonnet pressed really high. We ended up winning the ball back. We ended up with chances from that. There was transition back and forth. It kind of felt like a full court press in basketball on both sides, where it's just like neither team could really settle or breathe because it was just so pressure filled and quick.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, you go into this game with this game plan, like you have a plan of how you're going to play an organized attack out of the back. This is our goal. Both teams are doing this, but then you're under pressure. So you have to just make the best decision you can and try not to lose the ball. So my question is like, how do you calm yourself in those moments while still maintaining like the intensity of a stressful game?
Yeah, I think that both I hear a bark.
Did you hear Chester? Let me, I need to oh no, this is
Oh
not
no.
good.
He wants to be involved.
Yeah, Chetty's like all right, excuse us, Chester. We're gonna keep doing the show. Lynn, how do you keep the intensity high?
Yeah, I think that a couple things. One, you you're when you first get on the field, like I just know for a fact they've been talking about this, how you want to start on the front foot. We want to come out and we want to be aggressive. And if we can get a goal in the first 15 minutes, great.
Yeah.
But I also think playing Canada reminds me of like the first day of camp where you're just like it's madness and you like can't breathe. Everybody's just bonking the ball around because you're like so excited and and you're like your adrenaline's high. You want to beat the person in front of you, all that stuff. And then honestly, I think naturally you're just like, we cannot keep doing this for the whole 90 minutes. It's physically impossible. So I think that's when you have leaders like a Sonnet and a Rose, Naomi, who have experience, are like, somebody take a breath. Like literally,
right.
Anybody just breathe. Even though that they are coming at us, we can be intentional with like our movements and our aggression. We don't just have to be flying about.
Yeah, I feel like I kind of it's like you have to maintain this level of the game's fast. Like the field, it had rained. The field was a little bit wet, so like the ball was kind of like skipping through the grass really quickly. And I just think it's like you almost just have to raise your game to like match the speed and match the intensity, and you still have to make the right decisions. And I think that's really where you see experience, like you're saying, and confidence show up. Like I thought that Sam Coffey was still asking for the ball, demanding the ball, getting forward, playing passes forward. Like it wasn't a perfect game. I think you and I were texting throughout the game, like there were a few uncharacteristic, like missed passes, which we saw in the first game as well. some shots like weren't on target that I think normally would be. But I think that our experienced players showed that they can handle the pressure and, still put out a solid, a winning performance. I am wondering like what you think was going on in our attack. Obviously, I've already explained a little bit sloppy. The field is fast. It's high pressure. It's Canada. It's hard. But like, what was wrong in the first half? Why couldn't we score? What were we missing?
Well, I think that we've already touched on this a bit, but like a lot of our players aren't played in yet. So this is the first like tournament of the year. I think that has a lot to do with it and getting your touch right, your shots right. I would even say like Rose was in a great position, and then some of her shots were like over the bar. That's like uncharacteristic of Rose.
Exactly.
And I just think that that's a preseason Rose, not a played in Rose.
Yeah.
But I also think that there were some times when we were just either doing individual movements and dribbling a lot. I wish we took less touches, or everything was on transition or in transition. And then when it was in transition, it was like one too many touches, because our build, it was like, I almost felt like because we were getting pressed so much, we couldn't play in our build as much as we wanted to.
So can you talk to me more about that? Because I know that I agree about the touches thing.
Yeah.
But it's like, do you mean we couldn't build like in an expansive shape? We couldn't do our rotation? Like, talk to me tactically.
So it looked to me like we were trying to get into this 3-back, push Giselle up, then pushes Alyssa into the pocket. Naturally, then that brings Trin down because she needs to come and be a support person.
Because her outside back, which was Foxy, is rotating a little central because the whole back line is shifting as Giselle goes forward.
Correct. So as we're getting pressed really high, you need your midfielders also to be an option. But also it felt like when Trin would get the ball, she'd be facing our own goal because she was also getting pressed really high too. So it was almost like we needed to bypass everybody or be taking less touches and have like a 1-2 combination. And I don't think that was happening enough because we were taking a lot of touches. And maybe that's a byproduct of the slippery field, or also just, again, preseason.
Well, yeah, I mean, I agree. I also think that we had a lot of like what I would call dribblers out there.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody did anything wrong. It's not like people were hogging the ball. It's that when you have a lot of like 1v1 specialists, Trinity, Alyssa Thompson, Rose, Alli Setnor, even Foxy is so good on the dribble. Giselle is so good on the dribble. Like, it was a lot of dribblers. And so I think we maybe were prone to taking a few too many touches, and the game was moving fast, but the ball moves faster when you pass it. And so I think Canada was organized. They were in their shape. We were taking a lot of touches. I kept hearing on the commentary, even Sam Coffey's interview at halftime, like, we need to be more patient. And I think, yes, patient, but with less touches. Do you think that makes sense?
Yeah, yes. I think that instead of some of the plays, I think we were trying to force it. We were like, we're going to dribble. I'm going to force this to you. When now that person also,
or I'll force a shot from,
and then now that person doesn't have enough time and space either. Whereas you can be patient. You can move the ball in the back line. You can move the ball in between the midfielders. But when you're going to go, it needs to be like 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, and then you get a shot off.
Right.
Unless there's also, obviously you can have like individual brilliance too. Don't take
for
that
sure
away.
But I do have like a few good memories of specifically Sam Coffey and Claire Hutton 1-2ing in the midfield. And it's just such an efficient way of like eliminating a defender. Whereas when you dribble, you're like, I'm thinking of like Sid from Ice Age when he's like, do you know what I'm talking about? When he's like charging through with the melon. Is that even like a thing? But it's just like, it's so hard to dribble. It's so like taxing, and moving the ball efficiently with passing is obviously such a great tool of breaking down a defense. What I will say is I think when the weather is the way it is and the grass is really slick, shooting from distance is what they always say to do, because it's going to bounce and it's going to skip and like eventually it's going to go in. And I think that a shot from distance is what earned us this corner kick in the first half, where Rose Lavelle took it and found Alli Setnor directly. So this is kind of like foreshadowing everybody for what our goal is coming from. We saw this in the first half. It got deflected and went out of bounds, but it was such a moment of like, set piece execution. This was clearly scouted before the game. Rose was targeting Alli. And so that moment kind of was like, wow, that was wide open. I wonder if we'll get that again. While we're talking about Alli Setnor, and just before we get to halftime and her eventual goal, I wanted to highlight Alli's pressure and the intensity she was playing with as the 9 in there. She, I thought, had so much energy. Yes, she went out to press a few times when somebody wasn't with her, which is just extra running for her. But she caused so many problems. That pressure high was so good because she was so aggressive and so energetic.
Yeah, her willingness to go, I think, is really important. I think when you are playing the 9, we talked about this on Good Vibes, but when you're playing the 9, you are the person who is dictating when the line is going to go. When are we going to press? When are we going to hold? Are we getting into our block? Are we going like head down, just running, trusting everybody behind you? And I think when you're in a game where pressure is what's going to give you the ball, you got to go and just trust everybody's coming. Yes, there are some times that she went and I was like, oh, maybe would have held there. You're wasting some energy. But then like one time she stole the ball and unfortunately she missed a goal, but she went by herself and she got the ball. And I think that was just like good for her. And I think that that's something you can build off of. And as Emma, if I'm looking at that, I'm like, you guys need to go with her because there were some opportunities that we could have got the ball back and scored and punished them a bit more.
Yeah. Well, and I love that you're referencing that one. She pressured Jade Rose inside the 18, won the ball back totally on her own. She just missed near post, but you're right. It's that willingness to go, like, I think sets Alli apart from some of the other 9s that are in contention for this position. That like real willingness to defend and to run and to set the pressure and to be aggressive about it. She's like this young, hungry player who's like, I'll go every single time if that's what you want me to do. And I think that that's like cool to see because that's something, as the players around her get more used to that attitude, they'll then start to go with her more as that chemistry kind of grows. We did have a few chances, like especially that one with Alli Setnor right before halftime. Going into halftime, is your tendency to, it's 0-0. Would your tendency be to like make some changes and like fix it? Or do you like when Emma gives the team a chance to like rectify not scoring yet?
I think I like when she gives the team a chance to rectify and not score because it wasn't like somebody was doing something like horrible. And it wasn't like the team wasn't trying, or it was like the same problem was happening everywhere. Was like too many touches. It's not that sharp, skipping a little bit. And if I'm my mom going into locker room being like, you guys, we need to be more clinical, clean it up and then press. Like you got to keep pressing higher. And so I'm happy that she gave that group another chance to go out there and figure it out.
Yeah, I know. I was too. We came back out at halftime with no changes. Canada actually had that early chance in the second half where Chloe Lacasse received it in the box and like probably should have just shot, but she like hesitated and cut it back. The play was pretty back and forth again as we started the second half. And I actually felt like this game went by really fast and was like, it was a fast paced game with lots of chances at both ends. Like I thought it was a pretty exciting game.
Yeah, I also think it was like very stark contrast to the Argentina game where there wasn't like that many fouls. Like it wasn't like start, stop, start, stop. It just was like a flowing game.
Yeah.
So I think that also made it feel like, oh, this game is done.
And there was just always like another shot happening at one end or the other, or like something happening.
I know there was a moment in the second half though, when Canada was in the box and we had trouble clearing it, that I was going, yeah. But like looking at me like, are you okay? And I'm like, kinda.
Yeah, just kinda. I think as a fan, like it's exciting even when the other team gets a chance because you like want Sonnet to clear it, Like it's like it's so different being on this side of it, but as a fan, I felt like it was a really exciting game. And thankfully, it's now our time for our Olipop moment of the match, which I'm so excited about because I have this crisp apple here.
Oh,
I know. I'm like literally sweating and so thirsty and like need it.
Chug, chug, chug. I don't have one, but I want that one specifically. I've been craving apple juice, so that sounds delicious. Yeah, take it in. I can like taste it through your taste buds. Is that weird to say?
That's crazy. Okay, everybody, it's time for our Olipop moment of the match, presented by our great friends over at Olipop. Okay, Lynn, in the 55th minute, we found ourselves with another corner. We had a lot of corner kicks tonight. Alli Setnor was open again, as we saw in the first half, right around that PK spot. And the ball kind of bounced to her from a Rose Lavelle corner kick. Alli Setnor buries it. The ball was, kind of bouncing. It was a great shot. Alli is just such a natural in front of the goal in positions like that. I feel like she just has that knack for scoring. And I was hoping, as somebody else who has a knack for scoring, you could talk to us about this goal and just Alli Setnor in general.
Yeah, I love Alli. I'm so happy that she scored. I think that, like you said, they clearly were targeting her or targeting that position. In those moments, though, especially corner kicks, you just have to be on your toes and you have to be ready for the ball to come, because it didn't get to her like cleanly. It bounced.
Yeah.
Somebody like ran over it and she just innately was like, I just got to shoot this.
Yeah.
And I think that that is something really special, to take the responsibility and shoot it and be calm, because you could sky those. You could hit it off a defender. You could just miss completely.
Whiff it. You could fall down.
There's so many things. Your eyes get so big. You're like, oh my gosh, it's an open goal. And so I think that for her, that's like something that I love about her game, her just calmness in front of the goal, and her willingness to shoot. And we see this all the time where like she shoots the ball from really far out.
Yeah.
Like really far out. I'm like, okay, you crazy girl. But then it goes in and I'm like, whatever. And I just love her energy on the field. And I think that Alli is also somebody who is willing to learn. I know when I was in camp with her, she would be asking me a million questions. Should I stand here? Should I go here? Should I da-da-da-da? And I think that that is something super special in a player who's already really talented, their willingness to learn. So her ceiling is very high. I'm really excited for her.
Yeah, those girls from Hanson, Massachusetts. I love that about her too. I think Julie Foudy used the word earnest on the commentary. She's just like wholesomely willing to learn. She has no ego. She's just like, I want to be here. I want to get better. I want to do what I can for the team. And I like when young players have that attitude where they're just like, I'm willing to play whatever role, but like when I'm out there, I'm absolutely gonna make a case for myself. I love seeing that from her. So I'm so happy to say that was our Olipop moment of the match. Alli Setnor, we just love you so much. Thank you again to our friends over at Olipop for supporting the women's game. And actually, everybody, you can get your buy one, get one free offer at drinkolipop.com/GVFC. Okay, Lynn, I don't know if you noticed this one, but funnily enough, right after Alli's goal, Sonnet was like also being like, well, I could play the 9. And she had gotten high, all the way high, and was in the middle of the box. Trinity crossed it to her, but the ref had called a foul.
Yes.
But I'm just like, let's get Sonnet up there.
I know. Well, first of all, did you see Sonnet celebrating Alli's goal?
Yeah, so intense.
So intense. Celebrated like she scored. Love that about her. And then
with just a tinge of just like just Sonnet anger. Like she's just
I know. And then when she obviously was like the 9, I was like, how did you even get there? Why are you there?
I literally have no idea what happened. I'll like need to rewatch it and like do a tactics board and be like, that's how we get Sonnet to the 9.
But I was upset for her too. I was like, was it a foul? It probably was, but my heart wanted her to score so bad that I was like, no, literally. It wasn't.
All I need in life is just like Sonnet goals. Like it's just like the key.
I know, she makes me laugh. I want to see the finger wag celebration.
I I just love her. I could just go on about this all day. Okay, I do want to move on. Later in the game, the 69th minute, we saw hometown hero Emma Sears enter the game. She subbed on. Emma Sears is from about 25 minutes away from the stadium they played at in Columbus, Ohio. Emma Sears has like a pretty crazy story. I feel like kind of joined as this almost underdog character. I interviewed her on Friendlies, I don't know, maybe like about a year ago. And she actually had like in college decided to stop playing soccer. And she got convinced to come back and like maybe take her 5th season or something. I need to refresh myself, but go back and listen to that interview if you want to know more about Emma Sears. She comes back and plays. She enters the draft. She gets drafted to Louisville. She has been doing great there. She's called into the U.S. Women's National Team. And now I just feel like every time she plays, she's so dangerous and so good. Emma Hayes even commented recently in a press conference on Emma Sears' performances. Emma Hayes said, Emma Sears is not going away. If the World Cup was tomorrow, Emma Sears would be one of the first players coming off the bench. And I like agree. I just think that's so cool. It's such a cool story. And then seeing her like play in front of her hometown crowd was just like amazing.
I know. I'm really happy for her. I think that her growth in the last year has been crazy.
Mm-hmm.
She's just so fast. She's so strong. I think watching today, I was like, there was players just like bouncing off of her.
Literally.
And then I think her ability to pick out like a cross, she's been picking them out. I think she's been awesome. And then she takes her opportunities to shoot the ball. I think that is also a good sign of somebody who's young, who's like, yes, I'll do all the work. I will be earnest as well. I think that she's somebody who like sucks in all the information, but also isn't afraid to be like, no, I'm going to shoot this and I'm going to score myself.
Yeah. Like that's why I'm here. That's what will keep me here is if I shoot and score.
I know.
And you kind of like have to have that attitude. She also like, speaking of her players like bouncing off of her, she like immediately came in and picked the ball up at R18 and dribbled the whole field with defenders literally falling off her. I'm going to like do the Sid from Ice Age thing again, because I just like, again, do you even know what I'm talking about with that?
No.
I think it was from like a deleted scene. So like I always reference it. It's like the last melon in Ice Age. And then like a sloth, I think it was Sid, but it probably wasn't, like gets it and has to like do this football move like through everybody with the melon. Are you just like,
are they like covering? Is he covering his eyes?
Well, I don't really know. I don't know why I'm doing this. And like, also this is live. So like, I can't take it back.
Like, are you doing the Heisman?
And now I brought it up twice at length.
Is that like you're doing a stiff arm?
Yes, a stiff arm.
I'll watch Ice Age just to figure out what's going on.
Anyways, that was Emma Sears. But she wound up like with a shot in the box, and I did score a goal from the national team in Hartford, Connecticut, which is like, 2 states over from Massachusetts, but it was pretty close, and I had a lot of family in the stands. What's the closest you've ever came to scoring at home?
The Bay would be the closest, and I have. Did I have I scored there?
I couldn't tell you.
I think I have. If I haven't, I'm gonna feel like I have.
Yeah. Well, anyways, it would have been very cool to see Emma Sears score at home. She did come close. It was still fun. I bet she's like still out there signing autographs. We saw a few other subs come in. Lindsay Heaps came on. Lily Johannes came on. Pretty much like who I would expect to see. Jaden Shaw actually also came on like right at the end. But I think bringing on, we're only up 1-0. It is a tough opponent. Bringing on that leadership and experience from Lindsay Heaps, who immediately was handed the captain's armband. Lily Johannes came in. Our attack really like kept going. We did create some really quality chances. I thought Alyssa Thompson had some great chances. She set herself up. Like she was combining well. She was just, again, playing with that confidence that you can tell she's played in right now. And I just have to shout out Emily Fox again. I know I already said this, but she was so good tonight. So confident. I wish we could like just duplicate her. Like she's just a really, really, really solid player in that position. Lynn, who else stood out to you?
You want to duplicate her for us?
Yeah. Well, not for anybody else.
Well, no, that's I was like, absolutely not. We can't do that. Okay.
Well, we can't duplicate her either. It's not, the science just isn't there yet, unfortunately.
Okay, who else? I thought Claire had a great game.
Yeah.
I thought that she was one of the few that was like actually sending some through balls and not taking as many touches, as well as Sam Coffey. And then I think you already said this, but like Sonnet, I just love her. I think that her like passion and her ability to organize was great. And then I know Rose, like I already talked about this, like her not being her sharpest self, but she still gets the ball in the pocket and dribbles, and she's scary. And I think that anytime she's on the ball, you're like, you're a scary person.
Well, like she still gets the assist. She's still taking probably the most shots on the team. She still is like breaking tackles, sending in crosses. She had that cross to Sam Coffey who headed it over. Like the thing with Rose is like, I think of all people, she would say, yeah, I wish I completed more passes and I wish my shots had been on target. But it's like she still is so effective that like, you know, she's on the field for me no matter what time of year it is. Like she just is so effective and she like always makes something happen.
I know. And there's nobody like her.
There's nobody like her.
Emotionally, soccerly.
Yeah. We can keep going with that. Okay, I do want to take a second to talk about Canada because I mean, they had some good chances. They are obviously always a tough opponent, but I do think that they are like lacking some bite in the final third. We saw them play against Colombia over the weekend and they had it there, you know, on some they scored on some set pieces. I will just say, I actually, especially like watching the highlights back of some of the previous games we played against Canada, I was like relieved but confused why Adriana Leon isn't on their roster for this tournament. Like, I think that Adriana is always the one who seems to score for Canada, so I just don't really like get that choice. They were also missing Olivia Smith, the young striker who's at Arsenal, who's out injured right now. So, you know, obviously, she wasn't there to support Canada's attack. I do think that Canada has a really strong team culture and like team identity, but they need a consistent goal scorer if they want to compete at the World Cup.
I would agree. I think that there, like you said, there was like a lack of bite in their final third. Yeah, they're missing a lot of players to injury right now, but also we've seen this too. We've had a World Cup or an Olympics or a major tournament where you think you're going to have all these players and then something happens and you have to be able to have a bench or somebody else to step up and be like, I'm going to be this person who's going to put the team on their back and get it done. And I think that that is like the evolution of them is, yes, you have these players out, but like, who's going to step up and be that person's like, no, we're scoring a goal. And I know Vanessa Gilles does it with headers, but she's way back there. She's way back there.
Yeah. And so, I mean, you know, they almost like need those set piece opportunities. Even we saw Janine Sonis' great deliveries and the set piece she scored directly over the weekend. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. I think Casey Stoney is still relatively new with this group. They're kind of coming off of a string of a few losses, and this tournament is a good test for them. So we'll see. But we obviously have qualifying with Canada later this year, and I think that will be another big moment to kind of see how they pull it all together. They were also missing Jessie Fleming tonight, who I do think is like a key to their midfield and to connecting their team to their attack. So Canada has a lot of great pieces. Just couldn't get the job done tonight, not against the US. Okay, everybody, I'm so excited. We've reached the part of the show where we get to hear from you, our listeners. So just a reminder, if you want to join us here live on YouTube, you'll scan the QR code in the top left of your screen. There's also, I think, a pinned comment in the chat that you can click on. That will take you into a Zoom with our producer, Marcella. Marcella will tell you everything that you need to know. Don't worry, you're not going to be on camera. And don't forget, you don't have to ask a question, but you can give us a like, subscribe to this channel. It really does help. Okay, so when I call your name out, you're going to take yourself off mute, tell us where you're from, and then ask your question. Avery is here, so nobody panic. Avery, you're going to go second tonight because we have Alisa here. Alisa, can you take yourself off mute?
Hi, Sam and Lynn. How are you guys?
Hi, Alisa.
Good. How are you? Oh my gosh, this is so much fun. It just feels like we're on FaceTime.
I know. Well, I wish I could see your face, but unfortunately we don't have the technology yet.
That would be so much fun. That'd be a lot more stressful though. So I'll just ask my question without the video.
Great.
So I'm just thinking about like all the players we have in the midfield. I feel like Croy, Rose, and Lily Johannes are all kind of creative playmakers. We have a couple vets like Lindsay and Sam. And then we have some wild cards like Claire Hutton, Jaden Shaw, Olivia Moultrie, and even like Kat and Alli could play in there. So we just have a lot of different options. Looking towards the World Cup, do you guys think there's a certain recipe of players to be successful? Like I'm reminiscing back on the Julie Ertz, Sam Mewis, Lindsay Horan, Rose Lavelle days. And do you think we need any like, yeah, tell me about it. We were spoiled for sure. Do you think we need any more of a certain type of a player? Like I'm thinking maybe a bruiser like Hal. So let me know your guys' thoughts. And is anyone like a lock? If we dare say that word.
Okay, such a great question. I love it. Lynn, do you have any initial thoughts?
Do we not consider Sam Coffey kind of a bruiser?
That's fair. I also was thinking like Jalen Howell, but she's kind of been out of the bubble for a little bit. So who knows?
I do like Jalen Howell.
I think that right now, I think that the pool that we've seen is probably gonna be I don't foresee us bringing in more new people into the midfield at the moment. I could be wrong. But I think that as we're kind of getting close to the World Cup, she's gonna start solidifying like rotations and people together. And I think that even though like Croy, Rose, and Lily are creative, they're creative differently, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like Rose is like a like slippery, crafty dribbler to shoot. Whereas like I see Lily as like a really creative like passer with great skills, but she's clipping balls. She's like
hers are like more long range, I would even say. Like her passes are longer. And then Croy, like I would be shocked if Croy was put back into the mix right now. That's nothing against Croy. I just think that that's what Emma has showed us right now, that she doesn't, for some reason, necessarily think she's going to be in there. But I could be wrong. I have no idea.
Yeah, I think I actually like kind of categorizing, and I think I've talked about this on here before, categorizing players into like what I would consider a defensive player like Sam Coffey or Claire Hutton, and then a passer, which is like the 8, which is like a Lindsay or a Lily, and then a dribbler, a creative type, a Rose type. And I think, and you know, it's tough, I think, especially with so many versatile players that could play in that 10 role, like Kat, like Rose, like Jaden Shaw, like Olivia Moultrie, like Alli Setnor. I think it's tough to say because those players are not all that dribbler type like Rose. You could have a lot of different personalities and player profiles in there. And maybe the way I'm thinking of it is the way it was like for me in 2019, where it was like Julie was the defensive player, me and Lindsay were the passers, and Rose was the dribbler. And like maybe that's just my brain structuring things the way that's familiar to me. I like that. I think it like covers a lot of ground. I think it gives players with different player profiles opportunity to play together. But there is just so much depth and so much room. Like that whole Olivia Moultrie coming inside thing is so interesting. So, you know,
I think it's so hard to say, right? Like I think this is a good problem to have.
Totally.
First of all, we clearly haven't really answered your question because we are babbling and we don't know.
I think we kind of answered it. What do you think, Elisa?
I mean, I really don't know if there is a good answer right now. I'm glad we have Emma Hayes and that hopefully she could figure something out. And I'm glad it's not my problem to figure out because it's definitely a good problem to have. But there's so many different options and directions to go.
Yeah, it's just like so multifaceted and like more complex than just, I know you probably start with categorizing them, but you can't just say like, okay, well, Sam Coffey's defensive, so we're going to put her in defensive mid. Because it's like, well, she also needs to be able to build up and like get the ball and be confident in going forward. And then she has to have somebody who's like going to complement her. And I think that then you start to look at like, okay, well, if Kat goes into the midfield, what kind of 9 is she going to play with? And then that 9 also then dictates what 7 and 11 you're going to play with. So it's like, so again, I'm happy I'm not the one making the decisions because that feels, it's like kind of hurting my brain.
I know. It feels like a Rubik's Cube.
Anyways, the answer is
I'm having such weird analogies tonight. Alisa, great question. I think, got us thinking about this in a new way. So thank you so much for calling in. And hopefully we'll talk to you next time. Okay, let's move on to our next caller. It is Avery, everybody. Avery, welcome back. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I am great. I'm so excited to hear from you. First of all, what is it? Wednesday? Do you have school tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay, amazing. If you're new here, Avery is our number one caller. She calls in every single show. Avery, remind us how old you are and where you're from.
I'm 11 and I turned 12 on April 30th.
Oh my gosh.
I'm from Richmond, Virginia, and I couldn't watch most of the game because I had my own practice.
Oh.
But I wanted to ask you, what was the first national team game you went to as a fan? Because I was thinking about it today, and I thought that would be a cool question to ask you guys.
What a cool question. Well, I mean, Lynn hasn't had one yet, have you?
Well, prior to being on the national team, yeah, I would have gone to a national team game.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking that direction. Okay, did you go to a national team game as a child?
I went to one of Mia Hamm's last games at the Rose Bowl, and that was my first and probably one of the last national teams games I went to as a fan before I then was old enough. Yeah, and it was sick, and it was like there was so many people there, and I remember my friend's dad driving us down, and we were in the back seat, and we were like so excited to go, and it was just massive, and I was like, I love this.
That is so fun. I don't really recall if I went to a national team game as a young child, but I did get to go watch when my sister played at Gillette Stadium. It was in 2013. So I was in college. I was home for the summer for the game, and I got to watch that game as a fan. And then I also remember after I retired, I went to maybe it was a Gold Cup game, and I was kind of doing an appearance and meeting some fans and kind of covering it for this job. So it was kind of a hybrid fan, former player working role. But national team games are so fun. I think the fans at those games just bring so much energy. And getting to see those players warm up together and play in a game together. And it's really, really cool.
Avery, do you have a favorite game that you've gone to?
Probably the one where I traded jerseys with you.
Oh.
But my first national team game I went to, I remember nothing because I was less than a year old.
Oh, yeah, that doesn't count.
They started you young, Avery.
Yes. My mom made sure I went to a game when me and my sister each went to a game when we were very little.
Oh, that's so sweet. Well, we're happy that you have turned into such a huge supporter now, and we're always so happy to hear from you, Avery. So thank you for calling, and have a good day at school tomorrow.
I will.
And I think we'll talk to you again before. That sounds good. We'll talk to you on Saturday, and then we'll wish you a happy birthday, but maybe we'll talk to you before that as well.
Probably.
We'll just keep wishing you one until
we'll just keep chatting with you, Avery, every week. All right, Avery, thank you so much for calling. We have time for one or two more. Jesse, can you take yourself off mute?
Hello.
Hey, Jesse, how's it going?
I'm great now that I'm talking to you two.
Wow. Look at us. Jesse, where are you calling from?
I'm from Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Is it so cold there right now?
Actually today was in the 30s, so we had a heat wave here.
Spring is coming, everybody. Spring is coming. The end is near. Jesse, what questions do you have for us tonight?
Well, before I do my question, I have to shout out my sister Jenna, who is listening, who's a fellow hot dog as well.
Jenna, what's up,
Who also
Jenna?
gave me my women's game shirt that I'm repping right now.
Oh.
So just had to shout her out.
Oh my gosh. Well, shout out to Jenna. Thank you both for being loyal hot dogs.
All right. My question is, how do the coaches decide who warms up during games, even if no subs are going in? And do players know warm-up shifts ahead of time?
Okay,
Lynn?
so in the first half, when the clock hits probably like 25 minutes, you start cycling out. So just so you like aren't sitting there for so long. So like the first 4 people just on the bench will get up and go. And then once they come back, the next 4 will go, and then whatever. If there's obviously an injury that happens in the first half, the coach will look at the position. And if it's a defensive midfielder, for example, all the defensive midfielders will usually go out there and start warming up. In the second half, though, you kind of continue to do the same thing, like that cycle through until the strength and conditioning coach has like an earpiece in, and they get Sam ready. And so then like that, then Sam would get up and start getting ready. Or if she's already out there, she'll start like picking up the pace and like really getting ready.
Yeah, I feel like several times in my career I was like told to go warm up as if I was going in, and then like they never called me to go in. So
Same.
like I would stay down the end of the field for like 30 minutes, like stretching my calves
Yep.
and like doing little sprints. And like the coach will like sometimes the person who's like in charge of this, they will be like going back and forth between the warm-up area and the bench. And so sometimes they'll like call somebody's name, and it's in a loud stadium, so they'll be yelling. And when you're doing that, when you're warming up, you think everything you hear is them calling your name.
Yeah.
So you're always stopping your warm up to go like this and like be like, is she calling me now? And like they never are.
The worst too is when like they're like, all right, start getting ready. So you're like, I'm going in. And then all of a sudden, like somebody else will come out to start going in, and then they went in before you, but you've been warming up for way longer. And you're like, I thought I was going in. And then you're like, all right, well, there's like 1 sub left. Like maybe I'll go in.
Yeah, it can be really brutal. But sometimes the coaches will have like a plan, like a minutes plan for you. Like if sometimes you're going to play for 15 minutes. In really close games and tournament games, the plan goes out the window a lot. But in a friendly or like a game that you're winning by a few goals, you kind of might have a heads up, especially if you've started and you're going to sub off. So there's just like some things that everybody does every game, and then things get communicated to you throughout the bench, and you just kind of go do like a half-hearted quick warm-up that isn't actually very thorough or good, is it, Lynn?
No. And then sometimes they look at you and they're like, go in now, and you're like, all right, well,
and you haven't sprinted yet, and you're cold, and you like have to rip off your warm-up pants and just go.
Yeah. And you're like, well, say a prayer to my muscles.
Yeah, literally good luck to me. That was fun, Jesse, to just reminisce on all those like, really traumatic times in the warm-up zone.
I loved it. I had similar experiences in high school and college, obviously not at the same level, but I can relate to having to stand and wait to warm up a long time.
Yeah. It definitely can be tough.
The best though is when you're like, it's not the best, but you've realized like all the subs are used, and you're like, all right, well, can I like go sit down now?
Yeah.
Because I've been out here for the whole half.
But then you're like warming up to do your sprints at the end of the game. Like then you're up because you're like, well, now I have to do my running. So it's a whole thing out there. But Jesse, it was so great to hear from you. Thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Jesse. We have time for just one more caller. We have Holly. Holly, can you take yourself off mute?
Hi, Sam and Lynn.
Hi, Holly.
Hi. I'm calling from New Jersey, but I am from Canada. I am wearing a Jesse Fleming jersey. Sorry.
Well, that's okay. Wait, who were you rooting for tonight?
I'm always rooting for Canada, but it is a little bit conflicting because I have a lot of favorite US players, and I like want Rose to score, but then I really don't want her to score. So it's tough.
It definitely can. It's definitely tough. We were just talking in Good Vibes how I'm so enjoying just cheering for Sam Kerr in Australia because they're in like a regional tournament and I don't have to worry about them playing the US. So Canada versus the US sounds like a tough one for you.
Yes, I heard you say that, and I had the same thought about Canada and the US.
Well, Holly, thank you so much for calling in. What's your question for us tonight?
I just have a fun question. I actually left this question as a voicemail on Snacks ages ago, but I've always been wondering how often you guys get recognized in public.
First of all, shout out to Snacks.
I know. R.I.P.
Do we have any other Snacks fans in the chat? I would love to see the chat blow up with Snacks references.
With just oranges.
If you don't know what that is, Snacks is a podcast Lynn and I used to do. Great memories. Can you repeat the question though? I got distracted.
How often do you get recognized in the streets?
Oh, it depends where. I mean, like if I was at the US Women's National Team game tonight, we would get recognized a fair bit. But like out and about in my normal life, like pretty rarely. Lynn, what about you?
Yeah, I guess it depends on where I'm at. Like she said, national team, obviously all the time. Seattle, huge sports fans, get recognized fairly often. I actually, since being in Australia, have gotten recognized a fair amount as well, which is like, I'm like, whoa, hello. So a little bit, but not a lot.
Yeah.
Enough to feel like that's kind of cool, but also like I can live my life and be normal because I am.
Yeah, I know. I always get like snapped out of like whatever I'm doing, and I'm like, oh yes, that's me. But it was a great question, Holly. Thank you so much. I'm sorry that we never got to it on the old Snacks voicemail. R.I.P. We do have a new voicemail here now, though. And just in case anybody ever wants to call and ask a question, you can call 855-611-4050. Sammy Banana Phone is always open, and we do play them every week. So, Holly, thank you so much for calling. Thank you all so much for calling. Thank you for all the chomps in the chat that like just absolutely made my life. You guys are literally the best. Before we let you go, Lynn, I know that the Unrivaled Championship is maybe just started. I want to know, are you thinking Brianna Stewart and the Mist or Kelsey Plum and the Phantom?
I am gonna go with Stewie, and the only reason why I'm doing that is because I used to be a huge Liberty fan because I obviously played in Gotham.
Yeah. Okay. I love that.
What about you?
I'll just oppose you and I'll go Phantom and we'll see what happens. And we'll have a little wager. Do you want to make a little wager? Is that legal? Is betting legal? Like if we just did it like that?
I think so. Yeah. Why not?
I don't want to mess around with it.
Just text me on the side. I do think we're not going to put enough money on it for it to be illegal. What?
I get really silly on these when you're here with me. Last question. Do you and Marley have anything planned for cooked? Like, do you have a next like meal on your show?
Ooh, okay. I was just saying to him, I think we should start going back and trying to cook all the recipes that we either given a really low rating or that we just have messed up ourselves.
Yeah.
And usually the low ratings are because we've messed up. So
right.
If people think that's a good idea, let me know.
I think you guys should try to make a key lime pie.
Do you think I have that in my arsenal?
I do.
Okay, I'll try my best.
Okay,
try my best.
Well, Lynn, good luck with that. Thank you so much for coming on.
Wait, how's your chicken going?
Actually, really good. I don't know if everybody here knows this, but my New Year's resolution was to get good at roasting a chicken. And everybody, when I said that, was like, Sam, that's going to take you like 5 weeks. Like that's not going to like be a whole New Year's resolution. And they were right. Like I'm pretty good at it now. And
yeah. Like you need to pick something else. Well, I'm happy that you can do it. I had so much faith in you.
Yeah.
And just to let everybody know, me and Marley have this show called This Is Cooked on YouTube. And also it's like snippets on Instagram. That's what Sam was talking about.
Yes.
Marley is my husband, if nobody knows.
There you go, Lynn. I should have given all of that context, but that's why you're here, is to just wrap everything up for us. So thank you.
That's what I'm here.
Okay, Lynn, thank you so much for joining us. Everybody else, the U.S. Women's National Team's next game is on Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We've got an early one. We are going to be going live with Meredith Speck right at the final whistle. Until then, you can tune into Friendlies with Olivia Moultrie dropping tomorrow. And make sure you're following along with the women's game across all of our social media, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, TikTok, Women's Game MIB. You can also send us an email at womensgamemib@menandblazers.com. I would really love to hear from you. Also, as I mentioned at the top, this is our new merch, new colors, blue. We have a cute hat. I love the hat. So if you are already counting down to the next match and planning your outfit in your head, we have made it easy for you. This drop is really fun. It's full of heart. There's some cute little hearts in the back, actually. So it was like a very fun thing for me to say. Very on brand for the women's game. You can check it all out now in the women's game shop. Go grab your new layer at shop.menandblazers.com. Okay, everybody, I'm going to let you go watch Unrivaled now. Thank you to all of our callers. Thank you to everybody at the women's game and Men and Blazers. And thank you to our good friends over at Olipop. I'm Sam Mewis.
And I'm Lynn Biyendolo.
And this is the women's game. Thanks for being here with us. We'll see you soon.
Bye.